Hello, Mark Red Larsen here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today is actually, I guess I am live. I'm preparing for my 400th episode, and up to this point, every episode has been recorded. And I was talking to Caleb, the one that has been on the podcast the most times, and he's helped me a lot. And he came up with the idea of doing a live and maybe having people call in, and which I am finding out that I can do that too. And but I've just thought I would just that's one thing about keep learning. Like I said, it keeps you young. I've said that many times, but I'm supposedly live on Facebook, which I'm hoping I am. If I'm not, I don't have it figured out yet. So and people are like, you know, what I've learned. I'm 63, and what I've learned that don't ever stop learning. Don't ever tell you somebody, don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do, depending on your age. Don't let the age ever be a factor. I mean, yeah, sometimes it is health wise and other issues, but if you're just thinking that this is what 63 looks like, or whatever your age is bull. That age is unique to everybody at that age. And, I'm coming up on my 400th episode. I'm in my 5th year of doing podcasting. And I don't know if there's a lot of people my age doing podcasting. I love it. I've done them around the world. And, um, and I love learning. And just like this is, Riverside is what I use. And they lay it out pretty nicely. Um, I believe they do. It tells me that I'm live on Facebook. So that is cool. And I just wanted to get ready for the 400th, which it amazes me for somebody who was so quiet when I was younger that I've gotten that much talking done in 5 years. But yeah, don't let your dreams be killed or or paused or put off because you think you can't do it. And actually I was watching a thing on Facebook. I believe Barbara Cochran, the one from Shark Tank, and she said that something she learned is sometimes the smallest decision has the biggest impact. For one thing, the decision to go forward with what your dream is. And in today's world, is I believe it's more difficult because they got us so busy trying to pay, for groceries and everything else because they've got it so expensive. And I'm not going to why I think that is. I think it's a manipulation thing to keep us busy and not catching our dreams, living as modern slaves. But that's negative, and it's something that needs to be looked into. But there's so many things you can do online that really don't take a lot of time, and this sure is not physically it's straining me to do this. So even if you were somebody that was in having health problems or couldn't do a lot of strenuous stuff, you could do a podcast, you could do Facebook lives, you could do whatever it is. But don't let the world tell you who you are. I think a lot of times we have our inner child. Everybody has their inner child. Sometimes you never know it because it's been so pushed down as an adult that you don't even hear your inner child anymore. I'm not one of those. My inner child is alive and well. Um, I'm open to trying new things. I mean, the other day when I had Tate on, he says, I want to go skydiving. It's like, let's do it. Um, that would be intimidating to me. But that's what life's about. Living your dream, going out for doing something new. And life is short. Let me tell you, and I've said this on this podcast many times. It seems like I was just 23. I was just getting out of with college and doing all that stuff, and in the blink of an eye, and I see these shows that are saying that they're having 30-year anniversaries. Like, wow, I remember when that show was starting, and everybody's like, "Well, you're old," and it's like, and you'll be there very quickly. So don't celebrate every day. And I know I've said that many times too with Cheryl, my wife's cancer, and her beating it. Every day is a celebration because that gives clarity. Let me tell you, cancer and the thing and the like give clarity to what's important in life and not important. And grinding is not one of them. Yeah, you have to do activities to make money and do things, but when you're in flow, it never feels like you're working. Podcasting never feels like I'm working. I love doing this. I mean, today I was excited to see if I could get this to work, and I'm pumped because it looks like it is working. And hello, Facebook, if if you're seeing this. So, but yeah, learn new things. Just like Caleb, what I was talking earlier, he taught me a while back how to make my own kombucha. I would have never done that not that many years ago. Going to work out, that's where I met Caleb at the YMCA in Hastings, Nebraska, which is about a half hour, 40 minutes from where I live. And I mean, idea of what the why, is and is not what it is. I had such a wrong with the is. It's an amazing place, and they have so many programs and so many things for children, and they have so many things for adults, seniors. There's something for everybody, and what they do in your community when you have a Y. That's why I love supporting them. And the one in Hastings is like family, truly. I love the people there. They are so awesome. I've made so many acquaintances there, lifelong long acquaintances from people that work there and people that are just going to the Y. um, and I work out, and that's something that I didn't do when I was younger. I would never, ever, ever thought I would do that. And thanks to Caleb, he got me started on that journey, and it keeps on going. I'm getting less and less intimidated by doing all of that. It's the machines are amazing. Um, Yeah, it's just amazing what it is, and I love working out. I love it. I also love the hot tub, and Caleb would attest to that. I always start there because I tell him that I'm warming up, and truly warming up, and maybe the sauna. Then after that, eventually I do get to working out, and do the walking track. Yeah, there's so many things to do there, and health is wealth. And that's another thing I've learned from Cheryl's cancers. And I really have been pretty healthy over the years, not that much. Um, but do it. Don't let the age intimidate you. There are so many people from kids to a lot older than I am that are attending there, and they make you all everybody's welcome there, and they make you feel welcome there. So, but going on learning technology, learn. I mean, technology has gotten much easier. I mean, even way back in college, I was actually for a while a computer lab consultant. So I get it kind of from my dad. My dad's way ahead of me on technology. I mean, he just bought a brand new Tesla. Um, yeah, he likes to dabble in those and always has. Had one of the very, very first computers that I ever had seen anybody have, but he has not. He still has that passion for learning new technology. And the Tesla's pretty awesome. He's doing the self-driving part of it. Where he bought it and then to where he lives, it was like, I don't know, it's a lot, few hours, and he had it driving on the interstate. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'd been a basket case, but he's got the right attitude, and I think that's why his age, he doesn't seem his age. And I don't think he sees himself as his age. And that's another thing. How you see yourself is kind of the way you start acting. If I thought I saw myself as an old man, or some people probably would see me that, I would probably start acting that way. But I can run, I can do all this stuff that I did when I was 23. In fact, really, I'm blessed that I don't feel much different, if at all, than when I was 23. Maybe I'm even better because I'm working out and getting more activities going on. Um, so, but no, and this coming up on the 400th, it's going to be very interesting if when we do the call in, um, and I'm promoted, so we have people calling in. That would be very cool on that. And what's next? Because this is changing very quickly. I think everybody should have a podcast. The entry point for doing a podcast is so minimal. I mean, Riverside is very, very reasonable. I use Buzzsprout, I use Audacity. Um, there's so many things out there that you can use that are free or cost very little per month. And I just do it. Get your voice out there. I always tell everybody the world is waiting for your voice. It truly is waiting. I People are like, who wants to listen to me? And it's like, I was that way too. It's like, who wants to listen to somebody out in the middle of South Central Nebraska? I have found out that I've had people listening around the world, and have met some people around the world. Have been, Dawood from Pakistan, who has invited Cheryl and I, my wife and I, to his wedding in November in Pakistan. I don't know what the world economy going on there that and maybe cost. I have no idea. Um, but that, I mean, I'm honored, and Dawood's an awesome dude, and he actually learned English for doing the podcast. Um, I was not that way in my 20s, but I mean, I've met and then all over the world. I mean, Rao and his wife Mary in India, just you name it. That's one thing with today's world. I mean, sometimes the technology keeps us from forming true connections, but sometimes it forms connections we wouldn't have had before. And yeah, that it's like everything, kinda like AI. AI helps me with this greatly on Riverside, but it also, causes issues, but AI is not going away, and, I do believe that it needs to be monitored, but, the good it can do is, immense, but then it's two-sided, yin and yang. Like everything, and, but put your voice out there. Go out, and I don't know, I had God crossed my path with 2 awesome men yesterday at the coffee shop, Blue Moon, and, had great conversations with them. And, yeah, he crossed my path very much. And that's one thing, I always thought God was that entity because I grew up in a church, but I never had the conversations and the wherewithal to know God as I do now. Um, he talks to me daily, just about. He's very ornery. He's still, like I told the guy yesterday, he wants me to write a book or more, one or more. He had me go to that writing school writing class, that one, probably a year and a half ago now, and, I'm still not writing. He keeps on working on that, but he tells me where to go. Sometimes he even tells me what to dress as, or, dress with clothes, and what to do things and when I do it. And everybody, I was telling the guy yesterday that it's like people probably think I'm crazy, but it's very comforting. He's, very supportive. Um I'm honored that I get to, and it's not talking like this, like we're doing here. He just puts into my head, what I need to do, and it's like, and I smile. And sometimes he's like, "You need to do this." Can be firm, but he's just like a loving father, very much. And I know I've said that before in the podcast too. And yeah, and the fact that all these coincidences, especially why yesterday, oh my gosh, he kept crossing my path and there's no way that it's coincidence, one person after another, the timing was perfect. And it's comforting. It gives me comfort because sometimes I'm stressed out. We're still dealing with all the bills from Cheryl's cancer and all that stuff, and it's been a long time ago. And then last year's issues with maybe she had brain cancer or breast cancer, and we're getting bills a year later. Thought we were pretty much done with those, and had insurance. Insurance is a joke, um, very much a joke, and that's one thing we're finding out even on Cheryl. Cheryl's old enough to be on Medicare and all that stuff, and even that has been kind of a joke. And that is one thing why when I turned 62, which I did, last December. No, I turned 63 last December. Jeez. When I turned 62, I took my Social Security right away because from 62 to 65, they don't take Part A out of your what you've earned, and they take quite a bit out actually. And then if you have Part B, I'm like Cheryl's getting 300 and some dollars taken out of her what she gets every month for her insurance that so far have not paid much. Um, have not been impressed on that. So if you're turning 62, take it right away because from 60 to 65, you get it. You get 100% of it. And you don't have to have Part B, but you do have to have Part A. Something I've learned too. That's what happens when you get an old dude here talking about this stuff. Um, no, it's if I can show people the way, I want to do that, and we'll do that. And whatever God directs me to on that, and probably should do some writing. That's one thing this class. The guy said you can got to get a lot written in 15 minutes a day, and you can, very much. And actually, when I took that class with the awesome instructor, he writes like maybe I'm a writer, and I don't know. And then he keeps telling me I'm gonna be on the world stage, which I believe I'm doing right here with the podcast. But yeah, I don't know if he has kind of dissuaded me from going on traditional stages up to this point. I don't know if that'll change or not, but yeah, I think he wants me to keep expanding what I'm doing here with the podcast because it gets to be a worldwide audience. With me sitting in my office here, pretty easy, a lot better. I would love to, as a podcaster, go in with the Dream Catcher podcast, go in person. I would love to go to all the places from Spain, see James there, see Jack in Portugal. I mean, I'm getting to know a lot of people in a lot of countries. And that's the gift of doing podcasting. And another reason why to start it. And I truly love it. And I always say I'm willing to help people get started for nothing because I want everybody's voice out there. And it really doesn't take much to get people started. It is relatively easy. And it's easy because I've done so many episodes, but it relatively is easy. And you can have a podcast very, very quickly. And getting the people to listen and watch it is another thing, but like anything, it's a process. It's um, a journey like anything. And that's why at 63, I want to keep going on this. I'm still on this journey. I'm still here. God wakes me up every morning. I still have a reason for being here. And I see so many people working almost 24/7 to pay their bills. And if they could get something like a podcast going or something online that could make them be able to get rid of one of their jobs so they can be in their home with their kids and they can actually raise their kids rather than being in daycare. And I have no problem with daycare. I know people running daycares. I wouldn't want to be doing that either. But it's needed because what the average rent is per month in this country is unbelievable. I couldn't do it. Um, I don't know how people pay for groceries either. And that's one thing nice about Nebraska. We're relatively reasonably priced on a lot of things. I think that's why we have so many people moving here. Our weather hasn't been that bad, but our weather can get very erratic. We get the extremes, but the people are awesome here. And we still talk to each other. And there's a lot of places in the country you don't. Although I find when I go to these places, they can talk to you. So, I think I know Caleb always says when I'm doing it myself, 20 minutes is long enough, and I truly agree with him on that. I don't want to keep on, droning on, and but just don't let the world tell you who you are. You have the dream, you have the wherewithal. It'll take you some work to grow into that person, but you can go catch those dreams. And that's why I always ask, and what were your dreams when you were growing up in the podcast? And most people aren't doing those dreams. And granted, dreams do evolve, but most of them go and do the responsible thing, go to work, do the 60, 70 hour thing a week now, barely make ends meet, put its stuff on credit cards, get into debt. I think they said the average person now is retiring at 85 because they don't have enough money to retire at the traditional time. That's terrible. I mean, all those things that they would have done, were passed because they weren't able to. And, that's we're not here to be slaves to work. We're here to make a difference. And that does entail work, but we got it backwards right now. And I think to be by design. And, I think that's terrible. The people that have put this into place, and I think it's been going on for a long time, maybe since 1913, because they put a lot of stuff into place in 1913. It's very interesting, medical wise, health wise, tax wise. So it's been going on in a while. It's just been accelerating. And I think if things hadn't changed it, and hopefully not, that 2030 where you own nothing and you'll be happy. I think that's been derailed. I hope it's been derailed permanently. I wouldn't say that. But us being aware of that, and we need to keep to be aware of that because nobody needs to be living that way. So so on that, I pray that this went out to Facebook. I think it did. It tells me it is up there in the corner. Um, if you're thinking about starting a podcast, reach out to me. I'll show you the directions. Uh, it's it is a great way to do this. Get your voice out there. And even if you don't think you have anything to offer, you do. You definitely do. Because you've had all these life experiences that nobody else has had except for you. You're unique to the world. You're here. Your personality's here. You see the world differently than anybody else. And and that's one thing when I used to do these podcasts to begin with, I was so structured. And it's very unstructured now because that's when people resonated with it. Because before they said it sounded prepared, basically rehearsed. And in the world, life is a messy. It's very messy. It's not precise and clean and everything. But when you do the messy, people resonate with it because it's like, hey, they went through it. I can too. So on that, I'm gonna let you go. I thank you for joining me on my first live Dreamcatcher podcast. Um, been fun. I can't say I can tell any difference, except it's telling me that I'm live. And we'll see how on episode 400 goes because that's coming up very quickly. And don't know exact date. Haven't gone that far out yet, but it's not that far away. So on that, take care. Thanks for joining me, and we'll talk soon.